We had just said goodbye to our nephews Fran and Anthony after an epic 3-week road trip across the USA. Now it was time to get back to work, and there was both some exciting and unusual work just around the corner. After we dropped the boys off at the airport, we stayed in Chicago for a few more days. With some super amazing help from our dear friend Jeremy, we filmed a video for the University of Illinois Spurlock Museum of World Cultures, talking about the project and reflections from 2 years on the road. And then we went on a date, one that pulled at the heartstrings of our past and our story together. We are going on a date to Chinatown.
That's right.
I've never been there, and so we're gonna go get some food that makes us reminiscent of the place that we met. You probably know that José Luis is originally from Nicaragua, and I am originally from the USA. But did you know that we actually met in China? That's a whole other story, one that we'll have to wait for now. Well, we headed over to Chicago's Chinatown to explore and find some grub that would remind us of good times back in China.
Yeah, this is the barbecue combination place. It's 18.
What does it have with it? Oh, I'm so excited! Yay! Are you excited?
I'm super excited and super hungry.
Man, those flavors brought it all right back.
Really delicious.
And the whole experience reminded us of what brought us together in the first place. That shared travel bug. What would you say to somebody who says we're too old to have a travel bug?
They're crazy.
¿Por qué?
Because they don't understand the travel bug.
Then we headed straight back to my Uncle Tom's, where we were going to spend the next couple weeks. The goal? To get in some good family time and also help around the property. I love my Uncle Tom. Here is my all-time favorite photo of us. Here's another great one just a few years later. The last time we'd seen him was 2018, when we had just funded the studio and were heading to Florida to buy a bus and start the conversion. Now here we were, 3 years later, with that very bus. There was lots to do, so we jumped right in.
All right, so we have a little project to help Uncle Tom with. This portion of the deck had a bunch of boards that were rotten, so we had to remove them. And we're gonna replace them with new boards. This is cool because it reminds me when we were working with the bus and building our own deck on the bus. And also I love working with wood, so it's kind of nice to be working outside of the computer and working on hands-on things. So let's get cracking with this deck.
While Jose was working on the deck, Uncle Tom and I had another project going on the other side of the house. So we are here in Champaign, Illinois. We've been here for over a week now, here with my Uncle Tom, my Tio Tom, and it's been really nice. It's definitely a change from the West. It's hot, just like it was out there, but here there's a lot of moisture, so you can tell it's quite sticky. But it's been really good. I'm going to show you a little bit of what we've been doing. We've been working on landscaping, and we weeded over here, and Jose was able to trim the bushes. And right now we're putting in roses, a beautiful red drift rose it's called. Really beautiful. It's like we're doing a whole big row of it. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been good to kind of leave the creative work for a bit and just get our hands in the dirt and just do some manual labor. It's been nice, and it's so good to be here with family. It's good stuff.
Alright, the deck repair is finished. Now it's time to enjoy it.
With the deck finished, Jose could join us on the other side of the house just in time for an exciting step in the landscaping project. Hey there!
Hi.
What you doing?
Planting trees.
Aspen trees. Uncle Tom's favorite tree is the aspen tree. She always says the friendliest tree because it's always waving at you. Okay, now we're trying to make sure that it's as level as possible.
What's the next step, Captain?
Mixing topsoil. Putting in moss. Does that look about level? No, it's a little too high.
It needs to go a little lower. That looks pretty good. It's gonna grow on top of the tree. Bunga bum bum bunga 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 bum bunga bum bum bunga bum bum bunga 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 bum.
Oh, no hay que llorar. Okay, now your turn, babe.
For what?
Bum para bum 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 para para da 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 da.
We got 3 aspen trees planted over here. There used to be a big tree right there. You can see the trunk. We had to cut a lot of roots to make room for these aspen trees.
With the trees in, we could move on to another side of the house that was calling to us. Hi! So we are gonna put in these butterfly bushes, and those ones over there, I don't know what they're called.
We got some more planting done. 3 little bushes over here. And Cora is just finishing up the last 2 little bushes. Looking good, Luiki. And this guy here is really friendly. Doesn't move at all.
Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you? José Luis!
I cook for you! I cook for you!
You might wonder what the heck he is doing. Well, as Jose mentioned before, there used to be a tree here, and it left behind a pretty massive stump and root system. Uncle Tom read that if you drill holes into a stump and fill the holes with Epsom salts, it will actually dissolve the stump over several months.
Alright, so we're trying to kill this tree or wherever is left of it with Epsom salt. So we have to drill these holes as deep as we can. That's why we got this big drill bit. And now that I drilled so many holes, it's time to fill it up with salt. Add a little bit of water. And this is supposed to kill these roots.
So we finished around the tree stump that we were like cutting out, and now we're leveling the dirt. Now we've got to pack down the dirt, and this is how Mr. Jose packs down dirt. And your awesome sexy hat. Now, of course, it wasn't all just digging in the dirt at Uncle Tom's. This was also about being together. And although we didn't film most of it, we got a lot of precious family hangout time.
Life's going to take you where it wants to take you. You know, all the planning. Even Eisenhower said something like, what did he say? Planning is indispensable. Plans are worthless. Because the minute the battle starts, the plan goes out the window. But the process of planning prepares you to adapt quickly to a new plan.
One of the very best parts of this nomadic life is being able to take good chunks of time to hang out with the ones we love. And that is an invaluable blessing. We were so grateful that we had the opportunity to spend this time with Uncle Tom.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it'll be the strangest thing.
Yeah. All right, so we got another decking project over here. I'll have to change this post. They're supposed to be going over there, but I guess some creatures have been having fun eating off this thing. Look at that. It's crazy. So we got to change the one. This one was over here. We have another one over there, and then two more right there. I also have to straighten this and get it closer to close this gap right here. And I'll have to use some L brackets all around here to reinforce this thing. So this is the next project with Uncle Tom.
There were a few other things here and there, like seeding the lawn. I'm not so sure I'm such an even lawn seeder, but I gave it my best shot. And then it was done. Weeds removed, drift roses in, aspens planted, ground level and tree stump on its way to being dissolved. We even put in a new landscape barrier. The butterfly bushes were happy in their new home, and both front and back lawns were reseeded. And of course, both decks were in good working order now. And well, that went by in the blink of an eye. Before we knew it, it was time to head back up to Chicago for a very exciting event. And so we said our goodbyes and snapped a couple of photos to remember our time together. And then onwards to Chicago. Now, in the midst of all that deck building and tree planting, José Luis was working on something else as well, in tandem with an old friend. You met Megan in the previous episode, but in case you haven't caught that one just yet, this is our dear friend Megan Price. She attended the School of the Art Institute of Chicago with José Luis, along with her partner Jeremy Friedberg, who you also met in last week's episode. Megan is a very talented painter and graphic designer, and now these two were teaming up to put on a gallery show together. Now, not only would the show combine Megan's paintings and José's photography, but in the spirit of inclusive and public art, there would be an interactive element as well. Megan designed 3 mini murals to be painted on these panels that were then going to be donated either to a local business or community theater. And as always, all would be welcome to join in painting. It's a lot of work to put on a gallery show. Next time you're at an event, think of all the time that went into the installation of all the work around you. And that's on top of all the time it took to produce the art itself. Art is truly a labor of love. And you may be wondering who was hosting all this. The Martin is an artist-first, full-service creative space in Chicago's West Town neighborhood. And who is running the show, the creative powerhouse behind the scenes? Whitney Lamora, another awesome soul we were so happy to have met. And then it was the day of the show. All of the artwork had been installed the night before, and the gallery opening wasn't until that evening. So now that meant there was time to make headway on those mini murals. You might recognize that art shape. When designing the murals, Megan found one thread of inspiration in José's mural in Elko, Nevada. And also there was time to set up one final part of the show, the experimental film José Luis and I produced in New Orleans just before the pandemic hit. It fit in because the theme of the show was Wherever You Are, a reflection on the beauty and challenges of forming an art practice even in challenging times. Both Megan and José's bodies of work centered around pieces created during the pandemic, exploring stillness, reflection, and isolation. There was one final participant in the show, Bobby Buss herself. We spiffed her up and had her ready for tours so that folks could get a zing of inspiration from seeing a real working mobile art space. And then it was the night of the show. Later that night, some old friends of José stopped by, and we enjoyed a visit in the open air, just soaking up the Chicago night. Hi. 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 I'm gonna bring candles.
All right.
The next day, José and Maggie took their art to the streets, literally, and what ensued was just a beautiful day of connecting with passersby. Imagine walking down the street like any other day, and then you come upon this scene. A bright and colorful mural in the works that you can join in painting if you like. A tiny home that you're welcome to tour, which is always a hit. With the popularity of van life and nomadic living these days, people are usually very curious to see inside a space like this. And a gallery show to browse while you're at it. The show at the Martin was a success, and even more precious was the opportunity to spend time creating with friends again. This is what art is all about. It's about connection, expression, and celebrating the creative spirit together. With a successful show behind us, we moved the bus to another spot in town for a few days. This is when José went out and caught some of the most spectacular drone footage of Chicago. Then to cap off our time in Chicago, we spent our last night with friends. We ordered pizza to be delivered to the colorful bus on our street, and it actually worked. It was awesome.
Get so much pizza.
Whoa. So then we all just enjoyed the good eats of the city and just soaked up a little more of that precious time together. Next time on Aren't We There Yet? Oh, Wisconsin. This is where I was born and raised, where I got my start in music, where most of the dearest people in my life live. We can't wait for you to get to see and experience it all. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like.
Subscribe to our channel.
Send us a comment below. And for exclusive content and a behind-the-scenes view of the Aren't We There Yet journey,
Join us on Patreon.
see you over on Patreon.